I'm going to tell you a story. I'm going to be performing it live, and I will glance at my notes occasionally, but I'm going to try and tell you this story pretty much off the cuff. So let me tell you how Cedar Hollow came to be. This is the legend of Cedar Hollow. If you stand real quiet along the banks of the Contentnea Creek, right about the time the sun sets, it'll start slipping behind the pines. You might hear something most folks miss. Not frogs, not the wind, not even water moving slowly through the bend, but hounds. They won't be barking. They won't be chasing hard. They won't be baying. They're talking. Now, most people will tell you that's just imagination, but the ones that know a good dog, they don't say that because there's always been something going on around here, a lot more than we know. See, long before this town was ever formed, long before roads, long before names like TicBite or Grifton, there was only fire, and there was a wolf watching in the dark. And the fire belonged to a man, not a king, not a warrior, just a man trying to survive in a world that didn't care if he did. Night after night, that lone wolf would come closer, not attacking and not running, watching and learning. Until one night, the man did something he'd never done before. He took a piece of that fire. He set it down between him and the wolf, not as a weapon, but as a bridge. That night, the man and the wolf shared a meal, and that first bond was formed. From that point forward, they hunted together, they survived together, and they learned from each other. And over time, that wolf became more than a wolf, and that man became more than a man. That man went on to partner with that wolf, and that wolf would become the basis of all dogs that we have today. But eventually, time catches up with all of us, and the man's body wore out, but his purpose did not. And the fire didn't go out. They say that he still walks these woods today, somewhere around TicBite, close to where the TicBite sign is. They call him the guardian of the hounds, and the wolf is still faithful. They're still there. They walk through time together, through generations, to a place where every man and dog chose to trust each other. And now something magical happens. So several millennia have passed. The man, now known as the guardian of the hounds, still there, his trusty dog by his side. But the world kept changing, and they decided they needed to find a nice, secure place where the heritage could be protected. So they chose a place hidden deep in the pines, near water, because water remembers everything, in a land that today we call TicBite. And there they created a world that most will never see. It's known as Cedar Hollow. It's not just a place, it's a refuge, a place where that bond between man and dog is honored, lessons are preserved, and the next generation is taught. And they make one rule above all others. The world may benefit from the hound, but it does not get to claim what it does not respect. So Cedar Hollow was hidden, not lost, but hidden on purpose. You won't find it on a map. You won't find it by looking for it, and you won't stumble into it by accident. because Cedar Hollow only reveals itself to two types of folks: those that have been there before or those that have been invited. Now, that invitation comes, it won't be in the mail, it won't be on your phone. It's something you'll feel. And you'll find yourself standing somewhere familiar, maybe near the water, maybe near the woods, maybe somewhere you've stood 100 times before. And that's when you'll see it. An old sign will appear that says TicBite. It's weathered, it's quiet, it's standing like it's been there way longer than it should have been. And beside it, you won't be alone. The guardian will step out, leaning easily, watching like he already knew you were coming. And at his side, still as a stone, his dog. Now, the guardian won't ask much. He won't need to. He'll look at you for a moment, like he's been measuring something deeper than the woods. But then he'll ask, "Are you here on business or were you called?" And how you answer is going to matter, because not everyone gets through. But if you do belong, you'll turn around and swear that you just got lost, because the whole world will change around you. The dog will step forward, not barking, not growling. He'll just turn towards the woods. And that's your signal. The guardian will tip his hat and say, "Stay close to the dog. The path will not stay open long." And right there beside that old sign, the world will change. The air will shift. The woods will go quiet. And a trail will appear where there was not one before. And there's a hidden gate that will open. You don't open it. You don't walk through it. You're allowed to go through it. So you'll follow the dog and you'll step into a place where hounds speak, where lessons matter, and the bond is sacred. You'll meet Lucinda, the headmaster of Cedar Hollow Academy. You'll meet Gunny the bulldog. You'll meet the other cadre, and you'll meet the cadets that are learning obedience, purpose, and service at the Special Ops Academy. And if you listen close while you're there, you might hear something else. Not loud, not frightening, but steady and constant, like footsteps that have walked beside hounds since the very beginning. Because even now, the guardian of the hounds and his dog still walk these woods, still watching, still protecting, and still remembering. And every now and then, when the wind moves just right through the pines, a dog will lift his head for no reason and stare off in the distance. That's not instinct. That's them. That's the magical dogs in Cedar Hollow. He hears them. So what does a day in Cedar Hollow look like, you ask? If you make it through that hidden gate, if the dog leads you far enough down that quiet trail, the woods are going to open up. You'll find a compound full of log cabins with chimneys. If it's cold, there'll be smoke coming out the top. And then you'll see it. Flags moving just enough to catch the breeze. And right in the center of it all, a sign carved deep into cedar: Canine Special Ops Academy. Obedience, purpose, and service. And that's where the story begins. The day starts early at Cedar Hollow. Before the sun fully clears the trees, before the mist of the creek, there's a sound that rolls through the woods. A whistle. A sharp, clean, intentional whistle. And just like that, the hollow wakes up. Cabin doors swing open and paws hit the ground. Sleepy eyes turn sharp real quick. "Fall in, pups." That voice, Gunny the Bulldog. He's a retired Marine. He spent years as a Marine K-9, and now he trains the young cadets at the Special Ops Academy. He's built like a brick wall with a voice that does not need repeating. Lines form quickly. Andy, Mandy, Chaos, Princess, Molly, Buddy, Iris, and a few other pups you haven't met yet. They fall in line, standing straight and proud. Gunny walks the line slow. Discipline ain't punishment. It's what keeps you steady in the woods when the woods get loud. Now let that sit a second. It's what keeps you steady when the woods get loud. We could learn a lot from dogs, huh? From there, the academy moves with a purpose because every lesson in Cedar Hollow means something. Morning instruction today is going to be the science of the woods. Out past the cabins, down a trail line with worn paw prints, you'll find a class already in session. Standing in front, calm as the water, Professor Doc Hawthorne, wire-frame glasses, eyes that miss nothing. Wind don't lie, Doc says, but it'll confuse you if you don't understand it. He draws a line in the dirt. He draws a line and says, this is a scent line. He draws thermals. He draws movement. The pups lean in close. They're taking in every word that Doc says. Because this ain't just tracking. This is understanding how the world works. Faith tells you why the woods matter, Doc says. Science tells you how they work. And you'll need both. So with science class over, we'll move into the midday run. The lessons leave the chalkboard and hit the ground. Out beyond the clearing where the woods grow thicker, the pups line up again. This time, no talking, just instinct. A scent hits, one head lifts, then another, and then all at once they go. Not chaos, not noise. Barking and communicating with each other. A race. Snoopy leads. Snoopy is the director of rabbit studies. He holds a PhD in rabbit chasing, and his assistant professor, Baby, are two short beagles. They're teaching the pups how to chase a rabbit. Chaos pushes wide. Princess cuts sharp. Andy and Mandy stay close to the middle. Now, what you don't realize is Chaos and Princess are twins. They're young pups. They're young walkers. Their nicknames are the Wonder Twins because it's a wonder they ever get anything done. Princess is a little prissy thing, and Chaos is the class clown. The other two are also twins. They're twin beagles, Andy and Mandy. They're really interesting. They go on a lot of adventures. So anyway, they're chasing they're chasing the rabbit. They're running through the pines, over the logs, low to the ground. Their voices rising, not barking wild, but communicating, talking back and forth, the same way you heard it at the creek, because this is where it's taught. So the afternoon comes and that lesson matters too. By the time they come back, tongues out, breathing heavy, eyes bright, they don't just rest, they gather, because this part matters just as much as the run. On the porch in front of the main hall, a rocking chair squeaks. Sorry. I'm doing this live, so it is what it is. And there sits Lucinda. She's the headmistress of Cedar Hollow. She graduated from the very academy she now leads. Lucinda holds a PhD in deer pursuit, among other things. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't have to. She looks at cadets. The woods will give to you, she tells them, but you also remember what you take. The pups sit and think about that for a minute. Even Gunny stands a little quieter. Now Lucinda looks over at them. She doesn't see them as students. She sees them as the future. Out there, she says, you'll meet folks that see a dog as a tool. She pauses. But in here, we remember the truth. A hound is not something that you use. It's something that you honor. And with that, the education day is over and the sun starts to drop low again. The academy gathers one more time, but this time it's around a campfire, not unlike the very first campfire between the man and the wolf. And if you're standing there, if you've made it that far, you might feel it. You might feel that same presence from the legend. Not seen, but known. A pup will stop mid-step and look off into the trees like something just passed between them. And maybe it did, because the guardian and his hound still walk. And Cedar Hollow, it's doing exactly what it was meant to do. It's teaching, it's protecting, and it's passing on the heritage. And every story you ever heard told about a good dog, every time you hear one come back with when it didn't have to, and every time one stayed when it could have run, that ain't luck, that's legacy. And whether folks realize it or not, that legacy still runs right through places like yours, right here, right along the banks of the Contentnea Creek. And folks, that was the Legend of Cedar Hollow. It's still a work in progress. It's not a completed story, but I'm going to let you listen to it. I'll be performing the story live in my hometown next month at a festival. So I'm looking forward to that. Take care. And by the way, I've got let's see, I think that's Andy and that's Mandy. There we go. Thanks for listening. Follow me on YouTube. I know you guys follow me on Facebook. I'm trying to get the YouTube page going. I've also got a Rumble page started. I can do things with YouTube and Rumble that I can't do with Facebook. And we need to get these pages going for several reasons. We especially need to get the Rumble page going because it doesn't have the censorship that the others do. So follow me on YouTube, follow me on Rumble. There'll be lots of good content. See you next time.